Hello YouTube, my name is Marie and here on my channel I post K-drama related videos, but don't worry, I won't bombard you with content. I only post about once a month now. Bruh. But I do have a back catalog of about 200 videos, so I'm sure you will go and find something new to binge and love. Today though, we are doing a full series review of Happiness. So this series follows a newlywed couple. The husband is a very skilled detective, while the wife is a special forces operative. I'm not sure if that's the correct military term. I'm not very good at those, but she works in the terrorism sector. Now the two recently moved into their first apartment, and this is a story of them working together to maintain order within the apartment that has been put under lockdown from the outside world due to an infectious virus that is spreading within their apartment complex. And like other shows of the genre, the real threat is not the infected spreading outside, but the humans inside. So I'm gonna go straight into pros and cons and then go into my overall rating. So my very first pro is the unique zombies, and I hope nobody thinks that is spoilers, because if you watch the trailer for this show, I was going in thinking that we were getting a zombie show. But the zombies are unique, and I'm constantly impressed by how South Korea puts their own spin and makes these zombies fresh and interesting. Here, the way the infection spreads and how people turn is incredibly unique and very interesting. It added a lot of tension to the series because there was a lot of unknowns and variables at play that I thought was a great addition to this type of zombie show. That's all I'm going to say about the zombies because this is a spoiler-free review. Then my second pro is the main couple. I did say that they were a married couple, but they marry for a very different reason. They're not a love marriage. They marry in order to have enough points to actually get the apartment. And that is something small that I did love about the series, is how it shows a lot of the inequalities that are ingrained within the Korean housing crisis. So for instance, in the apartment, they have a lot of amenities, but only those on a certain level can access those amenities because those on the middle are renters, whereas everybody above owns the apartment. And I really liked this aspect because in my last semester class, it was like, no, not last semester, it was last year. It was modern Korean culture. We had only one class discussing the housing situation in Korea. So like in that class I knew there was probably way more to talk about. We just didn't have the time, so it was nice to get like a little hint of that in this show. The other things I love about the main couple is that they very much complement each other. Every time that they're on screen, I feel at ease. If I was in that apartment building, I would be like, what do you guys need? I'm like, please collect me. I understand why they were very abrasive to some people in the apartment, which does cause issues for them later, but it was also very difficult for me to empathize and like put myself in the other tenants' shoes as to why they thought this pair was such a threat. Hello, so I'm popping in here because I do want to recognize that a lot of the reasons why the upper level tenants are refusing to cooperate and really support our main couple has to do with class and, you know, prejudice. I do recognize that. Let's move on. Because to me they had such a protective and calm energy that I'm like, those are the people I want in a crisis situation. So let's talk about the female lead in a little bit more detail, because this is definitely her show. She's the one that gets the most characterization, I feel. She's also who we spend the most amount of time with, and she's incredibly believable. I truly believed that she was this very cool, calm, collected, and skilled woman. I loved the way she walked, her mannerisms. She's definitely not feminine, but I found her incredibly likable because she's not masculine in the tropey kind of way where they try and masculinize or empower women by showing them to be incredibly violent. Like, she's got fighting skills, but she's not a violent woman, and I really loved this character. You are going to see me a lot throughout this video because as I am editing, I've realized there's a lot of points and rather characters that I didn't highlight or touch on, and that's just, you know, a product of me being away from the camera for so long. Like, I tend to get nervous the first time I make a video after such a long break. Anyways, about our female lead. She has a relationship with a younger girl in the apartment building, and I think her relationship with this younger girl is one of the reasons why she feels like such a real human and so multi-dimensional, because you are allowed to see her in many different situations. You see her as like the badass, cool, calm, collected, like strategic special forces operative. I really don't know if operative is the right word. Officer, agent, I have no idea. Anyways, you see her in that context, but then you also get to see her as a very warm, almost maternal, Unni figure for this young girl, and it's so beautifully done. It's very subtle. Nothing about these two sides of this character feels jarring or contradictory, and that is why she's just so real to me. I love her. I also love the little girl in general. Adorable. I'm gonna talk about the husband, our male lead, in the cons, unfortunately. Then the only other character I'm going to highlight is the main military guy. Hi, hello. I'm going to jump in here again so quickly because I really don't think I explained why I enjoyed this other military figure in the original video. So this guy, he is the main face of really the government within this show. He represents like a part of the military that are already aware of this zombie outbreak. He's the front lines. He's the one dealing with it and trying to find solutions. And the reason why I like him so much is because he is willing to make and do the hard choices without feeling cold. And his backstory, the more you learn about him throughout the series, because he does get a surprising amount of character development, the more I liked him, the more I wanted to see him succeed, and I wanted to see him specifically overcome the zombie epidemic and, you know, save the people he loves. He's a very understated character. He was definitely a favorite of the show. If I had to pick, it would be our female lead, then him. I actually, in the earlier episodes, I was actually shipping them together a lot of the time, even though I knew it would never happen. And then it's probably our male lead. And the last pro I'm going to talk about is the understated soundtrack. I think this really stood out to me because I have recently dropped The King's Affections. One of the main reasons why I dropped that show is because I hated the soundtrack. I hated the OSTs. I found them really grating and annoying and over the top, and they overplay them so much in that show. So I think it just became all more apparent how in Happiness the music is very much support. It's not trying to be the main event at all, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, so next let's get on to cons, and the first one I'll talk about is the male lead because I've already kind of mentioned him. I again very much liked him. I really did root for him and I very much was invested in him, but all throughout the series I kept wanting more. I wanted to know more of his motivations, just more. Like, I wanted more. You know, he seemed to be a character that really existed for the purpose of being support and loving our female lead, which is not super satisfying to me, although again I want to emphasize that I really enjoyed watching him on screen and I did enjoy his character. I just wanted more. And okay, so next is the pacing issues. It's only 12 episodes, which I think is a very good thing considering how there was many points during the season that I did get a little bit bored, that I was waiting and really hungry for more action. The action is very minimal. If you watch the trailers, it kind of gives the impression that this is going to be an action-filled show, or at least very heightened with its tension and its claustrophobia. There are moments of that within the show that do play very well, but due to the nature of the lockdown and making the residents of the apartment more of the main villains than the actual infected, you don't see the zombies very much. And I think the show could have used a lot more zombies. I would have loved to see more chaos outside. Like, I would have loved to be able to look out the window and just see chaos unfolding. There are scenes, but I wanted more, you know? Like, I really wanted this feeling like inside is dangerous and outside is dangerous, whereas like logically you knew outside was dangerous, but it didn't feel balanced. At one point, inside was way more dangerous to me than outside. I wanted more balance with the threat. I think the pacing was off, and then also inconsistent tension throughout the series. Okay, so two more cons worth mentioning is that the overall cast, although they were serviceable while you watched them, they're incredibly forgettable. So if I haven't mentioned them in the video, I probably didn't think that they were significant enough or impactful enough for me to even mention. Like, they're definitely important and have a role within the narrative, but I will not think back later of this show to reminisce about the rest of the cast. It just won't happen. And then lastly, I found the actual ending very anticlimactic. It didn't emotionally hit me. It lacked emotional impact, which is very unfortunate because I felt like throughout the entire series, this was building towards something that would, make me cry. But I guess that is a running theme with this show, that I really did enjoy it, but I continue to feel like that it had more potential. It had more to give that it never actually delivers on. Now on to my overall rating. Okay, all that being said, I'm going to give my final rating, which is actually a 4 out of 5 stars, and that is because of all of my pros. My pros are definitely more impactful for me than the cons, even though I think the cons are important. So the main couple, I loved them. Our female lead, loved them. Loved the zombies, loved the premise, and I did overall have a good time watching it and really enjoyed it. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, you guys, that is everything from me. You may see me like this again very soon because I do want to either film another video today, which would be a 3-in-1 first impression review, being Now We Break Up, Melancholia, and Our Beloved Summer, I think it's called. Or you won't, and I'll see you next month. I'm really trying to get my life together. Have a good day and a good night. Bye.